This is Wadu TV. Truth and integrity.
Yama munyina kwa ba Wadu TV sumi. Na onimisa Mahama bisa Bawumia 5 questions. Ebesi ne Bawumia ntimi answer sa 5 questions ne. Oh yes, ebesi no answer ye. Na obisa ne say ade ntina sesia eka ombeto se na Ghana eteno omabwa ama na kotra 700 million echi billion Ghana cedis echi. The next question obisa Bawumia ne say ade ntina mo kobobo said the Bank of Ghana ho and so edoso ye pa. The next question Mahama bisa Bawumia ne say enyo no so e Messiah Obama dollar no akofom na cedi na ho de asa ba ne ba ne se na dollar uyi bakoto wa enya 16 cedis ebi kurapo eko 17. Next question Mahama ebisa Bawumia ne say se wo se oba be economy ni ye enti sisi adenti na wo se obeye digitalization sa enu nso eba ne sen questions no emse for na maboso no fifo no kebitela de beso so na mamo Bawumia questions obisa Mahama question obisa Bawumia no Bawumia se me answer me se bra debate so made na me answer ena Supreme Court tina afenyo makene Speaker of Parliament asem no so emu nsem te sen Kevin Taylor eduedu mu sai ase judge ba ko bi owo case no so no oko 2016 MPP di mu so ko stani MPO unnim constituency ni dia na wonnim nipa ni bia trase ne take Kevin Taylor sanso na Kevin Taylor atu nsemfo abeye nson bi dia ma Supreme Court judge obabi emu nsem ho na 11th November dia aseme bi siga na nya sekretwa odi yenti Kevin
ama ebusa eye Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia questions keke 5 questions and in fact Andra you can wasem these 5 questions near questions are John Mahama ebusa Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. In fact, you see, and then I was talking to somebody and I told the person, say, the NPP as a political party, no, they don't respect Ghanaians. And no na ama Bawumia so na adwene ye ne say ye ne Ghana fo nyina ye Jimmy. And ehona na dangerous no. Ehona na ma oman na ye chichire no. Ema ne ye hunu no. Because when you have a political party and you have a flag bearer and his running mate, say Sankofono, they don't respect the intelligence of the people. It makes it very difficult for you to trust them with power. Because so be Adrian say we Jimia. So the two mission in Sema. Now Adrian say, why Adrian ain't do that level to even question Adrian to me now with no what he is doing or what she is doing. Inti debiano I am a very dangerous say obi show say unrespectable and how you think and how intelligence you don't have to make a mistake of handing over something precious one kasa obo buying edawa kuma so to that person because the moment idea you precious o the massa nipa na obe treat idea to say obe treat in a way onim say you don't have even the intelligence to know say idea no or say no and I say on say no. And that is something that Bawumia, any NAPO, any MPP as a political party, that is something they have done for years. But make me be sure. Say, and John Dramani Mahama are reacting to Mahmoud Bawumia. 5 questions are Obusana Bawumia into me my answer. Now it is simple. When the university students, then people say 1 + 1. Now, I'll be like stupid. Can't you get it? It's obvious. It's 2. Because you can't tell me, say, you are in the university. Now, unim 1 + 1. Some questions and some answers are supposed to be straightforward. You are not supposed to go around it. In a university graduate, that's a 1 + 1. Actually, papers up to 2 in him. Now, you are still looking at me and talking about where you are from and how your father is great and what comprehension you can write and where you came from, the school that you came from to enter the university. I'll be like stupid. It's just simple. Just put the answer there. You cannot try and be bringing in things that are not important because the answer is supposed to be straightforward. Inti utie bronia The only time when you say, "I just say, don't be dumb. Just go forward, go straight to the question and answer." And it's not Oba Brofu Kuro say, "Stupid, you just need to do this." Now, John Mahama responded to Mahmoud Bawumia, Oman Bawumia, just 5 questions. And Bawumia, 5 questions are John Mahama the man, no. They were very simple questions, sir. It all borders around, or it all rallies around the economy. John Dramani Mahama could have asked Bawumia questions about fisheries, but Onimse Bawumia did not come into politics because he's an expert, or he was an expert in fisheries. John Mahama could have asked Bawumia question about agriculture, but John Mahama Onimse Ghana for Onimse Bawumia, he's not an expert when it comes to agriculture. John Mahama Nimse Bawumia is not an expert when it comes to housing. John Dramani Mahama Onimse Bawumia is not an expert when it comes to digitalization. John Mahama and Ghanaians, we all know, say Bawumia expertise, say or economist. Yen say Bawumia was introduced into Ghana politics because of his background as an economist. Nana the Dankwe Kufuor the Jina TV so catch say the reason why he is bringing Bawumia on is because of the economy. Nana the Dankwe Kufuor the MPP4 were straightforward with us. The reason why Kufuor is aligning every MPP person to go bring a non-NPP person to be his running mate Bawumia was because Okacha Ghana for say Bawumia has the expertise, he knows economics, and that when Bawumia comes to join him, what is going to happen? And they say, obey to me as solving your economic problems. That's all. It's Bawumia being in government, his job is to make sure the economy is safe, the economy is resolute. We have an economy that we can be proud of. That's it. There's nothing else, nothing more. In the John Mahama Ebusa Mahmoud Bawumia questions, so you could see, say, there are so many questions John Mahama can pose to Bawumia, but John Mahama trimmed the questions to serious economic questions because Onim say, Enona Bawumia etauti anasa wejina so I can say maybe say Ghana for and to Abamano from 2014. Bawumia questions that John Mahama Busa and say, why has the city deteriorated in value from 4 Ghana cedis in 2016 to 17 Ghana cedis to $1 today? It's simple. When I say we are economic whiskey, when we are the head of economic management team, Nana the Dankwe Kufuor your boss say, or the partner no because unim economics will be save Ghana's economy. It John Mahama say 2016 OJ power now we are running mate, we are the head of economic management team or be a vice president. Now city no 4. Then a city no do 17. It's simple. Actually, you are stupid, and I want me answer question way when you call yourself an economist. Let's break it down for reasonable people to understand. Jimmy Dodo. John Mahama again. Why has Ghana's public debt risen from 120 billion in 2016 to 763 billion in 2024 with you as the EMT chair? Or say, then a Ghana kai daho, a move every 2016 Obertnaso, we economic Westgate, our economic management team head, or vice president, who has expertise in economics. Kufuor the Jina so free or say then I'll pick a Ghana a car from Kwame Nkrumah ABC or no John Mahama so 120 billion and the 2024 no I could do a year all the way to a year 773 billion. Obusa say, how did we get here? Can you give us answers? As simple as that. Unless you are stupid. And Abakacha John Mahama say, where's the toilet? Unless you are stupid. And Abakacha John Mahama say, oh yeah, digitalization. These are straightforward, specific questions that need specific answers. John Mahama Busa the third question, or say, why did inflation rise to its highest in the Fourth Republic of 54% under your watch as EMT chair? Or say, time na Oba Bedi EMT chair, economic management team chairman, as the vice president, as somebody who was just brought in because of the economy, somebody who was brought in to come and make our economic situation better. No, why is it say day and I will lead the economic management team? No, what we call inflation, and I say sorry, inflation. 54. What caused that? Why couldn't you stop it? It's simple. You just need to just tell John Mahama the reason why inflation is at 54 during my tenure is this and this and that. That's all. Unless you are stupid. And I began John Mahama say, "Mema was slim. Oh, NPP no, your digitalization. Oh, where the cocoa meto. Oh, where the no. Unless you are stupid, unless you are stupid, and I overcall round. These are straightforward questions to an economist. John Mahama will not ask Ekufuado these questions because Ekufuado is dumb. He's not an economist. He does not understand data. He does not understand figures. Ekufuado is just an ignorant old man who was pushed to become president because of some foolish people's greed. John Mahama assess Ekufuado and will assess so and also your economist. Ekufuado or a failed lawyer. So you answer the economic questions. What has John Mahama done? Unless you are stupid. And I won't tell John Mahama air can I say. This is simple. Number 4, John Mahama Sabusa Bawumia, why did you borrow more than 42 billion from the Bank of Ghana and cause the central bank to post its heaviest loss of 60 billion? It's simple. You are in charge of the economic management team. And this is an economic question. Under your tenure as the chair of the economic management team, as the vice president who was brought in as an economist from Bank of Ghana, who says there's money in there's money, and that the monies at the Bank of Ghana, you are going to use it to benefit us. Now we are seeing losses from Bank of Ghana under your leadership. What has caused that? Unless you are stupid. And son, like I say, you are going to talk about your party logo. You are going to talk about bridges. You are going to talk about roads. These are specific, straightforward questions. Unless you are stupid. Now, the 5th question at John Mahama Busa, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and it say, there are so many stupid people in Ghana, and it say, why have you run away from giving lectures on the economy? Why has the word economy disappeared from your lexicon? John Mahama say, adentina sa eye lectures na oma 2014, 15, 16. Now we have PowerPoint. Now we call Central University. We call Assashi University. Say Assashi and everyone saying, we call different university. Pentecost University, Legon, Tech. Now all your lectures, you have all the resource at your disposal. What is stopping you from giving us the same lectures again about the situation of our economy? And also the word that your friend, economy. Or say, why has it disappeared from your statements? It's simple. Unless you are stupid, and Obeka say, "Messi dan waha, Messi toilet waha, and my kwan waha, and my plant waha." These are straightforward questions. Now, let's listen to John Mahama. Yes, sorry, there's Bawumia. I'm an answer. Now I'm at 50 questions as answers, and then the chest said, "This MPP, who Ghana for say United States chairman to me." How can you answer a question with questions? Mahmoud Bawumia, to answer just 5 questions, Mahmoud Bawumia has brought out 50 questions. Excessive Bawumia is stupid. It's simple. It is only a stupid person who answer questions with a question. You have to be stupid to answer a question with a question. Because if you're not stupid, how can you answer a question with a question? It does not work anywhere. It is only a stupid person who will think, say, a question answering a question is an answer. Because in the head of the NPP and Bawumia, when they use a question to answer a question, it is an answer. And that makes them stupid. Let's not make this complicated. Na Ghana for yet Ghana na yamanyo maybe is so complicated. Yet Kroma na Bawumia set 170 questions. Edema Pakwesi Emisa Ata. May he so rest in peace. No John Mahama vice president. What did Bawumia say? He said he needed answers. Why did Bawumia direct the questions to Pakwesi Emisa Ata? Because Pakwesi Emisa Ata had the economic background. Pakwesi Emisa Ata had worked at the Bank of Ghana like the same Bawumia. So why is Bawumia answering a question with question? It means Bawumia is either stupid or more stupid. There's a reason why we use adjectives. There's a reason why they are verbs. And your actions, and your status, and a bachelor say you belong to an adjective or you belong to a verb. And when we try to break things down to you people, and a bit more, you hear the English language that you become so stupid because you think, say, hey, kasa we die, Ghana need to brofua, until say, embusa no say brofu we. Why does it fit here? Is it a figurative statement? Is it a quote? Is this statement, in fact, a direct statement? Is it a phrase? People don't check that. All that they do is they take the word, the statement, the words. It is what you would do, your response to a question, your actions towards something. That is where you choose the right word for you. So if you're an economist and somebody poses 5 questions, economic questions to you, and you bring 50 questions to answer questioner, what makes you? It makes you a dumb, stupid economist. That's all.
Why are you running away from economy? Because you were brought in to fix the economy. The economy is in a terrible state. Just answer the 5 questions I have asked you on behalf of the people of Ghana. Simple.
That's all. Simple. Just answer the 5 questions. Anka Mahama ekobusa vocational skills, life skills, technical drawing. Okobusa religious and moral questions are. And because Mahama is not being fair to you, Bawumia. But Mahama born to net him a ho and a expert to ho. So he's saying that please, these are 5 simple questions. Answer them. Then Bawumia questions. It is only the MPP that answers questions with questions. Almost say it's reasonable. That makes majority of them stupid. You see, it dey be America check Ghana for say the NPP no omo Ghana for say nyina Jimmy. Now, the person who how stupid the NPP and the person who wrote these questions, some person or those people are. Mahama busa 5 questions. What be busa 50 questions? He said, now they responded 5 questions. When on earth did you hear somebody use a question to answer a question? Have you eaten? Yes. Have you eaten? Answer no. We Jimmy 4. And so Busa say, how old are you? Or say yes. How old are you? Just say, where Jimmy? Unim dia woka. And just how more ahemfuni bini Ghana for penifo bi amate Ghana say ai and there Mahama ndi obi atemo. Na wo hina wo ti akonnwam. So obi begina wa hemfie nim na obusa na asem. Na nipa no so di asem na ebusa wa. Obubofo na so obumfu. Oba ka nipa no won Jimmy ye. Wo ohene a wote wo. Wo ohene a Bawumia eba wa hemfie. Sebio obi begina wa hemfie na yeka se nipa no wedi bone wa begina wanim. Na wabusa nipa no se asemesi mi besa mi busa wo me na me ye ohene wa ha. Akwara na yeso wato ne mona. Me busa wo akwara no na woto ne mona. Na nipa no ogina wonim ka jo se nana na wo so na woto akwara ne mona na. Wo dia na beka che nipa no. Obeka se nipa no ye stupid. Enti munyina no monka motontwom. Na monhwe Bawumia the answers are or no say the question answers are or they respond John Mahama. These are the answers from Bawumia here. And one about Bawumia is actually stupid. The questions are 49. Now, can you name any broad-based social intervention policy that you implemented in Ghana as president? Ne, you busa the question no. Or busa Bawumia's Mahama said, can you name any social intervention? Akwa Jimmy, he is stupid. NPP are stupid. Bawumia is totally stupid. Who want to entertain such a thing as president? If a president cannot answer straightforward questions, then how stupid can you be to go vote for that person? The second question, why did you run advertisement against the free SHS? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Obusajo Mahama said, I didn't know your advertisement 80 free SHS. Are you fucking kidding me? This is John Mahama launching free SHS progressively. OC schools, stupid. This is John Mahama. John Mahama busa 5 questions. Questions 5 per ehun kwasi asem 50. Bawumia MPP for mo maame baako. Se mo maame baako, mo papa be 50. 5 questions, mo Jimmy 50. I didn't know Jimmy sir. This is a purely stupid political part. Now, the next question. If you think your economic management team was so good, how come we experienced more than 4 years of doing so under your government? Wait, yedi piaka. Wait, yedi sichiremine. The NPP is stupid. And I swear to God, some people don't want to say they are stupid, but they are forced to say they are stupid because of these things. 5 questions by John Mahama Busamo. Your stupidity is blinking like church bells. They are blinking. Now, next question. Why did the banking system almost collapse under your government? Or see, almost collapsed. So he is admitting that under John Mahama, the banking system did not collapse. And the answer. They are asking questions that at the end of the day that do not even make sense. These are stupid people. Stupid, foolish people. Okay? Then the fifth question. Why did you cancel teacher training allowance? There's no document to prove that John Mahama canceled teacher training allowance. John Mahama asked only 5 economic questions. Adane Edam. These are stupid people. Bawumia is stupid. He does not have the brains to govern. Wait, Jimmy. Why should you watching me? I also want your young people to answer chairman. Oh, your test on me. Kwasi asemwe. Wo wankasa kwasi asemwe. Wo nipa kwasi asemwe. Wo. Don't you see Bawumia is stupid? Can't you see the party you are following is a foolish party? 5 economic questions. Adane toilet ni ade. Who in Ghana can produce one document to prove say NPP NDC John Mahama echa alawam? Where? Here's the next question. Or say, why did you cancel nursing training allowance? Why did you cancel teacher training allowance? Jimmy. We are not supposed to waste our time on the MPP. Bawumia may say or suffer from low IQ kitchen low voltage bulb syndrome. Now I say a jar bulb. Or suffer from low voltage kitchen bulb syndrome. I say Bawumia na say kitchen bulb. O sokra wo hu bibia o kitchen ho. Obasaka said this is not stupid. Why? And as I say the Nkobia betuma chubi. Answer the 5 questions. Here, hear some of the questions. We are not going to read everything because didn't kwasasem. Or say, hear some of them. Now I'm going to go through it. Why did the National Ambulance Service virtually collapse under your government? Why was your government unable to create even a quarter of the jobs that our government has created? Wait. In the history of Ghana, unemployment is high under this government than any government in the Republic of Ghana. Abedi Ghana, so Yamfa the Fourth Republic. Under Bawumia Ekufuado, and you the highest unemployment rate in the history of Ghana. It's a question. You did not even answer the question. You are stupidly also messing yourself up. Are you stupid? Yes, you are stupid because your questions you are trying to use to answer questions, makes it clear that the NPP and Bawumia, they are stupid. Okay? Why was your government unable to create even a quarter of the jobs that our government has created? How many nurses, teachers, police officers, immigration officers and service personnel did you recruit as president? How many police and national service did Mahama recruit as president? Does Mahama recruit police officers? You are foolish. The wedding shows some way, Jimmy. They are stupid people, and why should we hand over a country to such stupid people? Okay? Why did you implement the 3-month pay policy for teachers under the government? Why did you implement 3-month pay policy for teachers under the government? What is that? I almost say, why did you cancel the car import duty waiver for teachers and nurses? It was our 5 economic questions, Bill. Just 5 economic questions. I've heard the port. First part of the Bawumia is not okay. Psychologically, is crazy. Or say, why did you cancel the car import? Or say, why was average agricultural growth under your government 2.9 less than half what is under our government? Why was industry growth under your government lower than what is under our government? Bawumia, what the manner? Bawumia, what the manner? Now, these are some of the questions. You're running through quick. Why was overall GDP growth under your government lower than under our government? GDP growth. Are you going to compare GDP growth under your government and NDC government? Are you kidding me? Or say, why did your government have no industrial policy for Ghana, but you have industrial policy for Ghana? Or say, or answer 5 questions, but no, we will 50 questions with Jimmy. Or say, why do you think our government has constructed and is constructing till? Why do you think when a hypothetical as a future present continues and not a future past participle? The question is, I mean, where which category does it fall in? Does it fall in present future and not present past and not future participle and not present verbal adjectival? Where does it fall? The question Bawumia is asking, which category? Where does it fall? Is it in the future, in the present, or the future continuous? Is it a question tag, answer tag? Is it, what is it? Or say, why do you think our government has constructed and is constructing more schools than your government did? Your government is constructing schools. Why do you think our government has constructed, or say, why do you think our government has constructed and is constructing more courts than your government did? Kwasia, $58 million. Abofunu, yambo tributo, ubusa se, uwesi court dying. Na court dying, I'll bet to you, no, or no, achim the see. Mumu, stupid. Mahmoud Bawumia, you are stupid, I'm telling you. Or say, why do you think our government has constructed and is constructing more courts? Why do you think our government has constructed and is constructing more public libraries than your government did? Public libraries. Or say, why do you think our government has constructed and is constructing more sports facilities? Kwasia, AstroTurf. You are talking about AstroTurf in the Ghana and Shaunsa. AstroTurf, how much do you need? 90,000 Ghana, 50,000 Ghana. AstroTurf, for you to be more courts matches also. Jimmy, you are stupid. Bawumia Jimmy, my Kebi, first, but I'm going to say, I'm for being too hard on him. Or a typical Jimmy. Or say, Munche, or say, why do you think our government has constructed and is constructing more airports than your government did? Airport at where? Airport at where? Constructed airport at where? Airport Bain. And I'm Ghana. Or say, why do you think our government has constructed and is constructing and equipping more TVET institutions than your government? Auntie Rebecca Diano. Kwasiafo. Auntie Rebecca Diano. St. Monica's girl. I don't know these questions, whether they are rhetorical, they are future continuous, they are present future, they are future past, they are present past, or they are question tags or answer tags. They are, I don't know, they are clauses or phrases. I don't know where these questions, where they fit. Or say, why do you think our government has overseen the provision of more NCA licensed fiber optic cable than your government did? But we have a down. Why do you think our government has constructed and is constructing more waste recycling plants than your government did? Almost see recycling plant than any government in this country. Or say, why do you think our government has provided 70 more scholarships to students than your infraction? As we speak today, there are more young Ghanaians outside this country. You people, their stipends enko. Under your leadership, scholarship students are breaching any government in this country. Sakis Lajimane, the scholarship secretariat, or ton scholarship 10,000 pounds, 20,000 pounds. Kwasia, or ya a worker hine, no facinti and canasem. Sakwasia no ever parliament because we sika contest it, we buakwa. Why do you think our government has constructed and is constructing more infrastructure in the Zango communities than your government did? Almost see more infrastructure. Zongo, we Jimmy MPP, they are stupid. John Mahama did not mince words. You true. Why do you think our government has provided more vehicles and equipment to the security service? You are wasting time. Yeah, maybe or say, why do you think our government has constructed and is constructing more hospitals than your government did? Which hospital? MPP from a year Bawumia time. One regional hospital, you people cannot point to it. One regional hospital. What hospital are you building? What hospital? Which hospital have you guys built? Which one? How come your government was unable to issue any significant amount of the national identification card? I think that they are just joking. Let's take this as Obi said these questions are all AI generated. It looks like it, right? It looks like an AI generated questions. I'll say, why was your government unable to deal with the problem of ghost workers on the government payroll? During your period as president, only 4% of Ghanaian adults had tax identification number. Our government has increased 8 to 85%. Why were you unable to do similar? Now, time I'll buy it. Now, over building tax identification number. No, or building no phone. Kwasia, only data center and come to me. Tax identification number. Sir, NIA, any Accra data center in your manner. Is one on a phone to pan room in Yain. Wait, Jimmy, you are stupid. Question number 35. During your period as president, only 4% of Ghanaian adults. Question number 36. Why was your government unable to digitalize the operations at the port to reduce corruption? Today, there's more corruption at Ghana port than any time in our history. Importers crumpled to me your MPP almost Jimmy too much. Why was your government unable to solve the problem of lack of functioning Ghana-wide property address system? almost the address system about I don't know John Mahama man yebi. John Mahama put 5 questions, bro. 5 questions back up. Ejimi 450 Asia. Me say 5 questions, bro. So imagine, because here we open debate. These fools say they want to debate. 5 economic questions. Mahmoud Bawumia at the 550 or the 50 questions, Saba. When to me answer 5 economic questions. Bawumia is mad. 37. 38. Why was your government not able to solve the problem of access to financial inclusion like we have? 39. What help did your government provide children suffering from cancer? You people are stupid. Why did you fulfill only 28 of your promises and you in your 2012 manifesto? We don't have to waste our time. Number 40. Why did you fulfill only 28? 41. What measure did your government implement? What measures did your government implement to address the people that people have in paying rent advance? What did you do to help people who had difficulty in enrolling or renewing their national health insurance? What did your government do specifically to promote the creative art and tourism? How did your government address the problem of getting emergency drug, blood? How did your government address the problem of tertiary student? Oh, we and I'll say open debate. Oh, dying. Some question I don't want to debate. You see, we keep telling Ghanaians. If you think 2024 elections is about John Mahama, then you're a fool. Today I was talking to some people, and one very important personality or MPP mu anam needing komo. After John Mahama told Bawumia say, Obusan 5 questions, but he should answer the question. And then John Mahama quoting Democrat or Bill Clinton campaign team, their answer to some Americans who were being stupid, who were not looking at the issues and addressing the specific issues. In Tidipa we are MPP muno. He texted me, I texted him back and I say, hey, see John Mahama, see the way the language, and I'm saying, what has John Mahama done here? John Mahama heading. Also, can't you see? And I'm saying, what did Mahama say that is wrong? Oh, but you know, your guy, he needs to do well. He needs to, and I'm saying, what did John Mahama do? A whole president we have in this country plagiarized speeches from presidents, which is a crime. Ekufuado. He plagiarized speeches from American presidents. A chronic Jimmy and MPP for Mumudu doing Jimmy ya and Kosasa now Moka say we don't want this guy as our leader. Jimmy way plagiarize a speech ɛwɔ sɛ yɛde tumi ama no ɔnkasa mfiri n'akoma mu nkyerɛ no Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo plagiarize aborɔfo speech ɛmfiri n'akoma mu obi asɛm a waka ɛna ɔno kɔkɔpii na ɔbɛka kyerɛ meaning that fool was not even speaking to us. He was quoting somebody. When I'm Ghana, they boast this or no a 2-time president because we couldn't pay the second term. Jimmy way, and I'm Ghana. He has disrespected the constitution, disrespected the citizenry, disrespected our forefathers, disrespected every single thing that makes us Ghanaians. This guy is a dwarf. Now, and the John Mahama quote site or see the Bill Clinton campaign team, they were telling the people who were being stupid, say, are you being stupid? You boost Bawumia only 5 questions, economic questions, or the 50 questions in Aba. Is it not being stupid? What happened to the 5 questions that you are supposed to answer? When was the last time you heard it say we use questions to answer questions? So I will show me now. I will say the questions and that's answers to questions, and you are stupid. But I want to come to what I wanted to tell you. So now Tigana now I will say, I am doing this show. Abana Okotono, Baby Agane Edruno. It's about John Mahama. You are stupid. Where we are now as a nation is not about John Mahama. It does not matter what John Mahama says today to Bawumia. Whatever we are going through today, we need to change it. Ain't he say, Oti Ghana say, "Oyo hene, oye Ghana ni." Hey, John Mahama akoti, Bill Clinton campaign team. The aka asama kyerɛ Bawumia, inti meto ama NDC a, meto ama MPP afa kwasi akoto ma MPP. Na efa me ho. I don't give a heck, and I don't fucking care. Wo and I obebre. Because only nyansa at the end of the day, no. The question that John Mahama busa Bawumia no, and Kaoma answer bet matter so abrabo. But Bawumia was a way jiminti. Questions the best sound abrabo. He has skipped the question and then he's fooling you. It's your poor you stupid Bawumia. So the moment you told that line, now Ajini will say, or Hini bi Babeka say, I Bawumia dear, uniatem. Me, do I care about the only atem, the odiatem? What I care about is Nyansenine Dimiso. Because with all due respect, ya wo hinia odini huni enso saa ohine no otomona ya wo hinia ne ntuma ye fe enso saa ohime no otomona ewo edien behind the scenes ya wo sofo a ne kaso ka fe na asori fe enso behind the scenes no orepu nkwara. So it is not about dia wo ya kire nipa, it's about are you competent enough to do the job. Enti so we study MPP fo a any Ghana fo ni bia. They want the election to be about John Mahama. The election is not about John Mahama. It's Ushamwa. Right now, what they are going to do is, hey, na John Mahama, and then John Mahama na in some case, and enka. I'm asking you, asama John Mahama kan no question na John Mahama busa no, anka hwan na embusa, and na hwan na embusa Bawumia so I don't to me answer. Anka wona obaso okobusa. Na okobusa obi be fiu. Me say, senya John Mahama na beka, anka wona won beka na. Da be na won say ohini bi ejina Ghana ha sori ebusa Bawumia economic question da. Have you heard any chief in this country say wa sori ejina na himfie ebusa Bawumia economic question da? Ohini ben na Ghana ha wa bi. So for ben na ejina sori dem ebusa Bawumia economic question da e Ghana. Me see statesman ben na Ghana wa sorry apart from John Mahama we ebusa Bawumia 5 economic questions. Entiba Bawama omusa. Da bi o. San kwasi ade ne yetwam. The elections now, it's not about John Mahama, it's about you. It's whether you want a fool or a stupid group of, or some stupid group of people to lead you, or you want people that are willing and ready and you have tested their experience before to lead you, because it's between dark and light. John Mahama is the light. In Kofowe, we have seen them 8 years. Yamamu in fear watch aka 38 days. Kwasi afo we didn't meet my amount. Yaman Kofowe 8 years. Omu de di ma, omu de wiamo, omu de abom tuo, omu de asemu nyuma, omu de ashim nkro, omu de wia election, omu de boom nimtia, omu de aye bibia 38 days kwasi afo we dey no metuma ya mawo. O sa be hye obo. Na wonya stupid a. E de na wotie Bawumia no asem. So the election is not about John Mahama. The election is about Ghana. It's about taking Ghana from the hands of stupid people. taking Ghana from the hands of criminals, taking Ghana from the hands of people who have infiltrated every government institution that used to be a legit institution or legit institutions. This is an election that is going to take Ghana from the hands of tyrants, criminals, corrupt individuals who have gone to the Bank of Ghana to take our money. This election is about you, the democracy, being able to speak your mind, being able to be a Ghanaian who can control your own affairs, being able to get your capital back, to be called a Ghanaian again, being able to go to school freely, your kids accessing good education, being able to see a government that builds for you, being able to see a government that respects you. That is what the election is about. So into one of our say election is about John Mahama. Where Jimmy? Kwasi abesa be di wuso. Chairman untumi abu ebe saba. Obe sewa sase. Obe botuo. Obe be di kwasi asem, because you don't know what the election is about. Anytime me, I don't make my platform about John Mahama. I always tell you, to abanema John Mahama ni NDC. Na omu yi Ghana free baby amu wono, because baby amu wono nye. It's a fact. And I have never stood on my platform to say me say to my NDC because me do NDC too much. John Mahama no fetching Bawumia, John Mahama who fetching Achichide, John Mahama ni minyansa. I tell you, say to my NDC because of the facts. They be amid show. The Green Book carries a lot that shows say the intent is there. Adwenepon kyerɛ sɛ woman nipa no kwan a ɔbɛyɛ de akyin sei. Inti enda seglement na yebesima awona ankende nka oba ewie immigration a kebetuma na kotim no kwasia ye de amakojo opon company omaton. It means na menka nkyerɛ say Mahama said Bawumia is not answering questions and is he stupid inti enti yenkotu ntia Mahama we Jimmy papa bro ni na de bro fo ba no u Jimmy obeka just say you are being stupid. Actually I want to stupid as say there be a mekacho. There are two things NMA MPP exists in Ghana, and one day you people remind me, or one day you people remind me, Kevin Taylor, you remind each other. In fact, you remember me in your prayers one day. NMA NPP, this political party exists. It is something called democracy and tribalism. So Kenya democracy and MPP can majority of them can show. I'm telling you, can to Ghana da. Tribalism they hold the party together, because some group of people say they are entitled to power and that Ebusia and Achichire party. These are the two things holding NPP together, and the major thing that is holding the NPP together and still keeping them in government is democracy. Now them soldiers who are willing to put a bullet in some of these people their head, but because of democracy, the respect for democracy, the respect for the constitution, the respect for human lives. That is why this government is still in existence. Some other countries are they are like us, but it is only democracy that is holding this country together. And the democracy, majority of the people leading you today will not survive. So sometimes, we have to protect the democracy as a people. For individuals, we are voting to protect a democracy that will give us peace. And to say, throw democracy out, there will not be any political party. NPP way, they be a me say this government, a democracy, they keeping it till date. Our son comedy a year 16 days of power. Telling you. And yet democracy and cause NPP way with the first 3 months then cause you two abide way. But because of democracy, we want to respect the constitution, we want to protect each other, we want to make sure the country is safe for all of us and people who want to join us. That is why the NPP government is still in existence. You have killed 8 people during elections. The president has not spoken about it. The vice president has not spoken about it. Nobody cares about that. We are going into another election and you want people to come and sign a pact. Are you crazy? Who does that? The vice president who wants to be president today, under his leadership as the head of the security police council, 8 people were shot by the military and the police. He has not made a statement. Kwasi always saw in Kremoni papa ben ede mo mabofom sorry 5 times a day ya boni nua tuo abra ni nua nkuta tuo a obeka se onka ho asaba abra wo tumi. Are you mad? Na Bawumia na wawo mugudam na ye keji omo no ye boba akukura timu tuo. Is he not going to speak? This is what we talk about every day. This is what you have to represent. You need to represent your nation. You need to represent the democracy you are enjoying. And that is the only way to say. The only way to say you need to protect it. How do you protect it? Take it away from people who don't respect the democracy. You vote against the NPP. That is not about individuals. It is not about John Mahama. It is about the democracy that we all have to protect. Now you get it. And we should not, and what the NPP in Penny any communicators say, they want to change, you see, from 1992, 1996, from time NPP before we bedi eba politics mu. They have always made Ghana's politics about individuals. And it's what stadium strategy now. What they do, they say, every time, they make the whole issue about their opponents and not about the issues confronting Ghana. From time Akufo-Addo president, it has always been about J.J. Rawlings. Akufo-Addo president, every single target was J.J. Rawlings. Every single thing was J.J. Rawlings, because they always make it about their opponent and they pick individuals. So you see, instead of them to address the holistic issue, our minor problems, to solve it, Nakufo ye chen to the comb. Nakufo ede or the asofo kwa koso mbo mpaye. Nakufo ko ede eyo Kumasi every weekend. Nakufo to hotels man mba. Nakufo ye Ghana at 50. No mu wia cast no. They were saying say J.J. Rawlings. They did not confront the fundamental problems of the people. Kufo free ho Atamils baye. Ekufuado's campaign was targeted at Atamils. Professor Do Little. Atamils is the infantini where they want to me. So it is not about the issues. Atamils de power Emma John Mahama and making the conversation about John Mahama. So the NPP strategy, our Ghana politicians say they make the issues about individuals. It is all steady at time John Mahama, a president from 2012. The issues wasn't about what John Mahama was doing as a president, what the government was doing as a nation, as a government. All the project that John Mahama was putting together, building hospitals, building roads, building whatever. It wasn't about the president. It wasn't about the government doing things to help the people. The NPP led by Akufo-Addo, it was all about John Mahama Ekronfo. So it is all about victimization. It is all about tagging people. It is all about credibility. It is character assassination. That's the word I'm looking for. Character assassination. They assassinate people's good character. So the conversation we need to have, they take the people's mind from it and then they do what? They assassinate people's character. They go after people's character. They make people think say nipa bi say abra omonya sa into study from Akufo-Addo, Bawumia. It has always been John Mahama Ekronfo. That means say they don't have a message. And it's na ende John Dramani Mahama ebusa eyedien ebusa Mahmoud Bawumia say, tell us 5 questions were economic questions. Tell us my answers or see 50 questions, because now Bawumia cannot make it about John Mahama. Right now Jandam is dead and the NPP for Jina stage, they cannot make it about John Mahama Koto Dayo Dubai. They cannot make it about John Mahama Nene Yere. They cannot make it about Ibrahim Mahama. They cannot make it about John Mahama Nene Ma. They cannot make it about John Mahama. So now what do? That is why they are struggling. They are struggling because the modus operandi, the strategy of the NPP today is not working, because they cannot get anybody's character to assassinate. In China, people say, now the intina as a election, NPP for your message. The NPP has always been about individuals targeting people's character. It is not about the conversation that we all want to have. That is the question. That is the issue. In Tendano, Sana Poji Maika, he is talking about a sophobia wuye. Now, Poji Maika, I saw about them, because the issue is so we John Mahama as a person out of the conversation. They cannot speak on the issues. And Bawumia some we John Mahama free no numuno. On to me I attack John Mahama biemuno. Bawumia cannot speak into Jinawa no Jimmy Jimmy. Intended no sa no pejan nine. It is because they only target characters. They don't speak on the issues. Because John Mahama wants the conversation to go on. And the 5 questions that John Mahama has said, say Ghana for money abrepano. These are the 5 questions that I was thinking that the conversation should be around, because Bawumia says he's an economist, heads the economic management team. He came in to change our economy. Into election 2024. No, these are very important, vital information. But the vice president says on can want them into a of 50 questions about, you see, because it's not about John Mahama. On say, and the majority of you say Muntumi tie radio, Muntumi NTA airdian, NTA. On say a lot of you are saying you tie radio and the radio crying yet there, and you win the across TV. So no, it is because we people like us and the good people who are doing good job by enlightening Ghanaians, they have taken characters out of our politics. Now it is about the issues. Now, said John Mahama Nima, NPP cannot speak. Now you get it. John Mahama na ye ne free muno. Ye make sure say the conversation will be about what you have done, no. And into the end, the NPP they look like say they cannot have any meaningful conversation. Because I was steady from 2012. The conversation wasn't about our economy. The conversation wasn't about what people were going through. The conversation was about John Mahama first, who we are now the economy, not so. It is a Utie Bawumia 2012, 13, 14, 15. All his lectures, he will start with John Mahama first. Owiano Chatro as an economic wastegate. And all the whole thing, he's inciting the people against John Mahama as a person and ignoring the fundamental issues. And John Mahama is not a subject of the day. The subject of the day is the economy, is the GDP. The subject of the day is inflation. The subject of the day is talking about how the dollar is 17 now. That is the subject of the day. Bawumia cannot answer because he cannot go after John Mahama. That is why we are here today. The NPP are stupid. After now, you see, and they call court. So I'm for you think Sembebri say and a year after your marking NPP for call court, no. Asana kopie Supreme Court Emma Sebio or Konya or the ex-party application because Supreme Court say a Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin why then why adebi of Parliament we yi NPP phobia omo moko independent no we yi omo to akonwa nti NPP minority leader a year afenyo marking eko a year Supreme Court eko ka kire Chief Justice say Chief Justice Jumadia omudi no a year Parliament no Chief Justice entu ni nansim if we say Chief Justice ne betuma aboa no afenyo marking court no Chief Justice onim eye Parliament almost dwumadi omudi a sebio omudi omho no otu ni nan e na odi sim say eye decision bia eye Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin eteki no eye Supreme Court Chief Justice tokonu edi enimu no ono wetu ni nan sim judgment ana ruling na oma of Parliament say NDC for ena from time or sa judgment no eye my majority no or no eye Chief Justice ene sebio judge for mo no omotu omu na esim asam no ene eye Alban Bagbin so be 2 days ago or no so ewu krata eye Supreme Court for the bre no e ka kire ne say oh eye wo decision ene wudwumadi a wudi in Parliament no even though no mo ye independent body a mo aso mo hyemra e make sure say Ghana na ye kikire no bibia koye no omo akwanya say omo betu omo na esim iti Alban Bagbin also received this suit from the court, the Supreme Court, and our directing the lawyers say omo ko Supreme Court ko kan kire Chief Justice say Jumadi na odi no Supreme Court no sa to me na ekuta no ono Alban Bagbin ne Parliament so e the same to me, the same as the executive enti ne wanwa say asema AC e Parliament no asema Parliament eka omankasa betuma tena se aka Parliament wo ono ankasa ne mra obetube diso ahyehye mra no se Parliament kura asem si wo na se sebio omo nti omo ho ase a omo wo bibia ye frɛ no rules and regulations standing orders a omo betumi de asolve asem no o say Chief Justice etime tu ne nan esi omo asem no ohun ne se Chief Justice watra nani nton sebio ni tumi no oma ni tumi no atra na no sebio oma ni tumi no atra nechi sebio oba na tebe mu dodo. In fact emrana Chief Justice ejina so e de aka se onja ni dwumadi a odi no Parliament no mra bi a etia Ghana mra kase constitution no Okay, thank you very much. I will use that. The 5 Supreme Court judges, you know, I am man. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. I'll mention their names now. Enti Assembly Sakopie Court, Alban Bagbin, Esman, the lawyers, mom responding to a Supreme Court, a court Chief Justice war. Now, and the Assembly P Court, no TV so. Me assure yourself from watching kono, let me land the phone be beba. I bet you to bro for see jargons. So I'm phone tina me ye coming yet. So I'm for intina me ye. Now, after your marking echo Supreme Court, ko can asem chere eye osono maame, eye Madam Tokonua, Ujinimuma MPP o, eye Supreme Court no. All kono asem o de call e ho nyina ne say. Eye de let me put this picture up. Na yenko yin. This is the Chief Justice and the ono ena Ghana Supreme Court no odi enim. After your marking ede na asem echo Supreme Court no. Okoka Chief Justice say eye nipa miensa bia omo parliament and Alban Bagbin atwe omoto ase akonwa say omo ko independent dia eye akonwa na ewo ho no sebio omo ja akonwa na to eni say omo from say omo ye MPP MPs na emom omo ye independent. Now afenyo marking koye no enkura na nka so kobo Chief Justice no they see your parliament and say a nipa 9 MPP form yensa and NDC ni bako. Then so after your marking eko a Supreme Court no or the nipa miensa din ko ye say sa nipa miensa we nkwa na a chief Speaker of Parliament e hwe hubua asem of Parliament. Then so uko Parliament in krata mu a Parliament in krata mu no sa da na a Alban Babin ebu asem no na a nipa 9 enho asem ele ogina so ebua na asem nanso afenyo makin eko Supreme Court na okoka na asem a kire eye osono maame eye the Chief Justice no okoka kire ne say nipa miensa it means say in the first place eye the ex parte application na afenyo makin ediko Supreme Court no that application no everything in it was a lie because don't say court oko quarter in sem na ye de ko ne enyi bi mfrim ene enfe bi nka ho afenyo makin eko court no o decide say inkuro ana nyoma eko so parliament ema Alban Bagbin gina so ka say 4 MPs ye yi omoto akonwa efi so omoko independent no ono free parliament ede na asem akọ court ede akọ osono maame ho no o say nipa miensa enho asem na Alban Bagbin gina so edi bu asa asem no court so ana say eye imrahwe Supreme Court Madam Tokonu osono maame da ano no eye facts ene edi gina so edi bu asem. Now the ekosi nyina ne say asem na kopie court na ene the epie court nyina ne say Alban Bagbin show letter come Supreme Court Chief Justice say uni ho kwan in fact muni ho kwan krampo say the ekoso parliament no mubetu munan esim enti enho and the Chief Justice eye osono maame Madam Tokonu ene the battalions miensa amaka no etena ase say omu bebua sa asem no ansana asem ankasa afenyo maakende baaye say Chief Speaker of Parliament say eye omu ye minority anase we yi MPs miensa to akonwa no yakoso into the end e course no nyina ne ye interlocutory eye issues eye fa asem no ho e de say we twa material enwa homa no enende eye osono maame Madam Tokonu ene the battalions no etena ase edi hu enkomo enti adekudi enti omotena ase ndan se na omopese omotie Alban Bagbin se bi on response of the bro mo se omuni hu tumi krampo se omobetena asem no so na omotena asem no so no eye osono maame Madam Tokonu ene eye the Supreme Court judges omaka baako ye MPP foot soldier a ye friend eye gawu anase de en a mebodi din eye Nansia Nekufuado eye the Supreme Court judge na obi anim so oye former MPP parliamentary candidate Ghana ni mako Ghana ni mako mo Supreme Court judge oye former parliamentary candidate ema political party in power e de akurofon so no now yonko enim enti eye lawyer ogina muma Speaker of Parliament eye Theodore sorry one eye Attorney General onu so gina muma Ghana ɛna ende ɔmo nyinaa ekopie ɛyɛ deɛ Supreme Court. Now yɛkeka asɛm no nyinaa bɛsie no na as a Chief Justice person ɔkyerɛ sɛ ɔwɔ ho tumi Supreme Court no wɔ ho tumi sɛ ɔmo yɛ deɛ ɔmo pɛ ɔmo frɛ Alban Bagbin deɛ decision bi a ɔteki no wɔ ɛdeɛn ɔteki no wɔ ɛyɛ parliament bia no ɔmo wɔ ho tumi in fact constitution ma ɔmo ho kwan sɛ ɔmo bɛtu ɔmo ndan sim na ɔmo akyerɛ deɛ ɔsɛ parliament ɛyɛ ɛni nti na ɔmo pɛ sɛ ɔmo kɔ so na ɔmo kɔ di asɛm na ankasa nti ɛndɛ no deɛ adekodie nti ɔmo tena ase no sɛ Alban Bagbin mu a yɛ ɔde brɛ ɔmo sɛ ɔmo ni ho kwan sɛ ɔmo bɛdi asɛm no ɔmo sɛ ɔmo abɔ ato ogu ɔmo ho kwan na nsɛm no sɛnea ɛbɔbɔ baayɛ no moma yɛnya abotrɛ na yɛntie sɛnea ɛkɔɔyɛ sɛnea ɛbɛyɛ asoamefoɔ ɛnso bɛte aseɛ pefee ansana ɛyɛ please let me land. I know you are my elder brother. We all went to law school together. You have been a friend for a long time. We know your party affiliation ansana sankwasiafoɔ na ba ɔkyena enti yɛyɛ ne local edwudwam basic na yɛ mama hu deɛ si wɔ Supreme Court ndɛ na yɛ kyerɛ mo sɛnea ɛyɛ ɔsono maame Madam Tokonu ejina pintin kan to twomyɛ yɛ na adwene sɛ obɛyɛ adwuma ama Ekufuado na sebio ɛyɛ abomu ɛyɛ thank you Ekufuado yɛ Chief Justice no ɔde bɛma ne back now sɛ wokɔ deɛ si wɔ court na time ma Chief Justice ɛkasa no sɛ wotie Chief Justice yie a wohwɛ nkrata afenyoma ken ɛde call ɛyɛ Supreme Court ɛne ne yɛn starting free yɛ de yɛn call law school but your common sense ɛne na wo yɛ Ghana ni na wo hwɛ me a you don't have to forget on call law school a ɛnkyerɛ sɛ nyansa unibi ɛna sebio yɛ ka asɛm a sɛ ɛyɛ court o sɛ out of court o sɛ ɛyɛ mmra o sɛ ɛnyɛ mmra o at the end of the day everything dwells on common sense and you don't have to be a PhD holder. You don't have to be a lawyer. You don't have to be in law school to understand fundamental or basic reasoning and logical reasoning issues. And you don't have to struggle to use your common sense. And anything I make a say on this platform, what we try to do is say we bring everything down to the basic reasoning level. We are Ghana nina utia because asem we die emunyansa no ene dien adentina simesi we ye say anything every time we bring the conversation to your level enti brofo mo kekan bebrebe o court nde no me ena mabetena ha ne me team ena ye de ba fo ma wate ase because na ye Ghana ni a wokoto aba wo taxes ena ye di tua nkofo mo te court ne ka enti I was said ye course o court no so no at the end of the day no oye den wote ase okay now there's one thing you need to understand. Say, I'll be in a court and I'll be in a parliament. Eka constitution, 1992 constitution. I was so bibi, and there's one thing I Ghana for Mure Yefi. Ghana constitution, a mason for a hairdressers, a welders, a ma omoton adwini wodom, omoton apofe, a tailor for a student, a teacher for a different kinds of artisans. Ghana for ordinary Ghana for ne agi o madwene e de chichire anaye de chiro constitution enti nobody in this country should see the constitution say you to free wiem na baye 1992 or before 1992 no nipa bi ene to omu gu Ghana impenifo mo Ghana ene omo gi Ghana for adwenkyere efa nyoma ana sene omo pese ye chichire Ghana. Inti sa wotie the constitution and asa wote the constitution of Ghana enye broni bi na de baaye eye wo nana ana wo maame ana wo papa bi a ebia wetwam ana wawu ana yempanifo bi ana mo ho ana eni ho ana mo a moda wote ase ya dwenkyere a ye gege ye kekesi ani na de build bi a friend constitution it is our constitution e ho no enye some book bi e bi nsi da eye me ne wo adwene kyere ene friend constitution adwene kyere a ebeboa me ne wo e de aboye ho ban abo oman ne ho ban e na ye nyina e de atokrata so e friend the 1992 constitution. And do not think say osono maame Madam Tokonu or some exceptional being be a constitution or no kwa na wo ho kwan say o kyerɛkyerɛ mu tie mema wa adwene nya wo say politician bi ti radio so na TV so a ono enkwa na Nyankopon ama no ho kwan say eye 1992 constitution a tailor for mason for hairdressers eye doctors teachers obi a oye Ghana di bia ede na dwenkyere ba ye kekere no omo nkwa na wo ho kwan ye nyina wo ho kwan say constitution no ye be kan na ya te ase na ya mana boy nyina ho ban. So do not see yourself say constitution de asuo na nipa bi nkoa na wo are entitled to break down or explain the constitution, and a majority of you Ghanaians dey deceive mo abedru there. Nobody is entitled to explain or interpret the constitution than the Ghanaian. Some people have been given the mandate that officially when there's an issue they can sit and make it official, but we all as Ghanaians, unofficial or official, we have the right to read the constitution and interpret it. And the basic thing is that we need to be reasonable. We need to reason. Our reasoning level should be to the point where we can read the constitution and understand the constitution. So if somebody is misapplying the constitution, you and I will see a dabi constitution we nurse ni na chiro constitution we tailor ni hairdresser inti ya ma wo nkoa mbe wa adwene se wo na wote ase. So we should all understand this. Over a period of time nipa bi create idea bi to Ghana say yo nipa ko bi a omo nkoa na read the constitution. That's not how it's supposed to be. Yo nipa ko bi a omo nkoa na entitled to speak on the constitution. That is not how it's supposed to be. The constitution should be a basic document. Every Ghanaian should be able to read and understand. The one ko school kra an kenkan on to mean kind brofono. I will see a tumi man nipa na constitution na se. If you say a sa nipa na one ko school no na dwenkyere e ka ho na meye ye den ye di constitution we by 1992 JJ Rawlings edi eni me de bae. Enti enya Rawlings nko adwene. Enya asemesi nko adwene eye wo eneme. Enti about constitution mama ye common sense ni nye adwuma. Mama me emfa title ne nko ama judge for. Mama me emfa ma politicians. Mama me emfa ma nipa bia. Oma adwene ye omo say because they are in politics they have the right to interpret or only speak on the constitution. Na ye maame na oye hairdresser no ye nua na oko school no ye nua na oye welder no ye nua na oye mine ni no and I say ye nua bi na oton nyama na otumi kan no only right. We all have the right to read and understand the constitution equally. What am I say? Now let's move forward. NOB Kano, the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana should be added to the syllables of Ghana schools. I will say I will say a part. And I remember when we were in school, social studies, we had some part of the Constitution in that book, but in Kwasiafo we started school we don't even know anything about the Constitution of the Republic. I was from class 5. You started the Constitution, you what a Constitution subject. I was saying your school you the Constitution Sibiani reading books bit say life skills book, social studies book, Arabic book I was say Constitution a topic. Enkorano ebe read the constitution teacher ni beba kenkan page by page on do JSS3 now on every part of the Constitution of Ghana. It should be part of it, and I expect the incoming government to introduce this, add the constitution to the syllables enkorano from class 5. We need to infuse the constitution in our day, in our daily life, in our education. So I expect the NDC government, when God help them to come to power, they should infuse. Professor Nano Pokwa should insist that the Ghana Education Service add the constitution, makes it a whole topic on its own. It should be a subject, that we have the constitution as a subject, that every kid by the time they get to JSS 3 or junior high school 3 that kid knows about the constitution, every single page of the constitution, so that we, the ordinary people, they call us we can also defend ourselves. Because that gap and then some judges, some lawyers, some stupid criminal individuals in Accra sitting on TV intimidating you, the Ghanaian, taxes Ghana. So we need to make sure the constitution is it becomes a subject in school. We need to be distributing constitution book to the kids. The schools need to have it in school. I will say chema obienya 1-1 na edu constitution subject you're reading the page by page. And your page 23, what does it talk about? Chieftaincy affairs. The kids needs to be taught, or they need to be taught the constitution. They need to be abreast of the constitution. They need to know what the constitution entails, so that as they grow, kwasiebin to me free Holland in Bambeka say or ko school Holland or bedi Ghana ni so. We need to get these things right. And I will plead with Professor Nana Opoku-Agyeman that she should add this to her conversation. She should tell the people that when the NDC government comes to power, the constitution will be a subject in our primary schools all the way to the senior high schools. That's how it's supposed to be. We need to teach the constitution in schools. All right. Now, team, stay with me. Inti under court, they see any. Now, Yanko tie the first part of the CEO court. Now, me betrawa debi. Afenyo marking ne ex parte na or the court court no. Ex parte application na ono kwa court a one fre obi anka ho okoye no. So what kind of document ni here? Because ende no afenyo marking court no. The last time no, our catch Supreme Court to say ministers and MPs miensa ho asem and so okọ parliament document mu a MP for a 9 ho asem and Alban Bagbin eruli make sure how inconsistent the Supreme Court is, how they don't take details seriously because of corruption. You see, when you are corrupt, what you do then they say you always try to cover up details. And what most corrupt people do then they say, because details are important and details majority of the time expose corrupt minded individuals, they try to give less attention to what we call details. Into Saosha Afenyoma can court, he was talking about 3 MPs, and so over parliament adia Alban Bagbin Jina so take a decision now it was about 4 MPs. In the first place, Afenyoma can adia Jina so court, it is wrong. It is a lie, and the Supreme Court is not supposed to entertain it. Into the case Krano in the first place was not supposed to be called. The Supreme Court was not supposed to entertain Afenyomakin. Into we read Afenyomakin, what we call the ex parte application. The second point now, or say, an order restraining the Speaker of Parliament from pronouncing on any motion in Parliament directed by Right Honourable Andrew Esiama Amoako, the current Member of Parliament for Mena in the Ashanti region, and second Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Honourable Cynthia Morrison, the current Member of Parliament for Aguna West in the Central region, and Honourable Kojo Asante, the current Member of Parliament for Suhum in the Eastern region in the current 8th Parliament of the Republic of Ghana, from vacating their seat on grounds of leaving his political status as an independent candidate at the time of his election to Parliament to another party, and leaving the party of which they were members at the time of their election to Parliament to become independent members of Parliament respectively. Inti uche Afenyomakin adia ojina so ede court no in the first place kwachire Madam Toko no Madam Toko no jitu mu na Afenyomakin went with 3 MPs. I'm trying to take this off. Sorry. Afenyomakin call no okokache Supreme Court say MPs miensa mo MP na ema Alban Bagbin Jina so ebu asem no enso ukọ parliament na MPs 9 omo ho asem na ema Alban Bagbin take decision or take here no. Into what will make the Supreme Court take half truth and try to judge or make a ruling on half truth, because he cannot go to court with half truth. And
one of the grounds upon which I'm urging the court to set it aside. So,
Speaker of Parliament lawyer, the Okache Supreme Court and say, Afenyomakin Baha Abekase, MPs me and someone some and Alban Bagbin Jina so ebua na some or speak Parliament. Nanso anya no kre. Nipa ye come wasam omo ye 9. Inti eden na Afenyomakin eba Parliament, eba Supreme Court, ebedi atrochire mo say nipa miensa. And wasam and Alban Bagbin ejina so ebua say NDC majority. And judge for me to say, oh, now asana woka no ya pese ebusa say den na woka say Chief Justice Krampo no de oye no entwa ye omo ntia say obi beka say Chief Justice take decision bia sad decision no scandalous entwa ye. Into omo problem no say the word scandalous omo problem no say aden na woka say Chief Justice decision bi o take ye no based on the Afinyoma Kende by an entry inti dientina emanekasa. So Chief Justice Akasa me entry and intina even Supreme Court was something we call review. And intina your appeals court because you who's a court no it's not perfect. It when somebody says the Chief Justice took a decision and that decision technically it was scandalous. It was basically the ruling was not based on the facts because the facts and say when you go to parliament 4 MPs in 170 eka Afenyoma can the MPs 3 170 buy so it means Afenyoma can brought a lie for the Chief Justice to rule on. So for the Chief Justice failing to make sure the details are right, the Chief Justice has committed a crime and it's scandalous because we expect the creme de la creme, the biggest court on the land, to do its checks, dot its I's, cross its T's before it makes a judgment. Finished. So how can we be here that we are dealing with half truth? Because after Afenyoma King in Parliament, time Alban Bagbin Eka say MPs and 9 abaku free NDC miensa free MPP we you amato akonwa no ade achi no Parliament kura they were supposed to do what? They were supposed to in fact draft into Alban Bagbin ruling no na e was a Parliament e de ko enkra time into redia so oko Parliament documentation mu a there was a memo Alban Bagbin from Parliament no release here after Afenyoma King court no 21st of October 2024 editor of database chamber reporting office of chamber reporting memo say pursuant to regulation 551C and 0 of the parliamentary service or staff regulation 2019 CI 118 explain why a disciplinary action should not be instituted against you for photocopying the drafts Hansard of Thursday 17th October 2024 and making same available to some other persons without authorization. Your response should be submitted to the editor of database chamber reporting by 4 p.m. on Wednesday 23rd October 2024. Inti the CNSA after Alban Bagbin and making sa declaration of Parliament, what happened? And they say, sa a declaration, at the end of the day, everything that happens in Parliament, it was said, wie na yehu say mistake bi animu a na eden speaker sign and sign a official document. Now the moment you be bibi of Parliament yen sign ya speaker engine tumu entimu so no it is a draft and yet document sebio obi abetuma gina so take a decision. Into that ruling from speaker that ruling was not a complete statement and I say a confirmed ruling from speaker. If you say now the ruling now make it was supposed to be entered into the document in Parliament to make it an official ruling. Now what happened? And they say Adiabechino and our Parliament won't be a printing the ruling that has not been officially endorsed to be an official ruling and Afenyoma King so on Franco court. Inti ema speaker ni breye ka say document now dem Afenyoma King coin a draft document den na wotam draft document e dem obi so mfanko court if you say ade chia every time they sit in Parliament what they do is they go through all the things they did the previous day and see say if there was a mistake somewhere they correct it. After they do the correction then it is endorsed to say the previous meeting has been endorsed to be an official or valid document. Afenyoma King took a draft document that has not been endorsed by Parliament into the document Afenyoma King took to the Supreme Court. Not sad document, and yet they're in the final document of Parliament. Into sorry, or yes, Speaker of Parliament, the lawyer the Supreme Court to say you have judged on a half case or on a half truth. What Afenyoma King brought was not even an endorsed document from Parliament. It was a draft, and even after that, Afenyoma King came here to say things that were not accurate because Speaker of Parliament ruled on 4 MPs. He did not rule on 3 MPs. So it is scandalous for the Supreme Court of the land to say they are ruling on a half truth, on a draft, on a document that is not totally official or endorsed by the Speaker. So Afenyomakin is just bringing a sheet of paper to come to Supreme Court to go get a ruling. And then a Speaker of Parliament, lawyer and catcher Supreme Court said, this is not right. You are not supposed to do that. It is scandalous. A whole Supreme Court cannot get its facts right. And another judge in the case, my name Kasa. Now, I didn't know also say it is scandalous, but the facts are the facts. How many MPs na can once our parliament? 4 MPs were the MPs are a speaker, a really almost. So how did it happen? Say in parliament, in Supreme Court, we are talking about 3 MPs. Now, let's move forward. Now, this is also another thing that happened. A speaker lawyer raised the issue be that the ruling of the court is based on a parliamentary proceedings that has not been approved by the speaker. Now, so study pa, even the next day na speaker by they still did corrections in parliament on the previous meeting. Ain't so previous meeting na Afenyomakin ejina so called Supreme Court the next day na speak about parliament they had to correct some things in the previous meetings. So Afenyomakin went to the Supreme Court with a document that was a draft that was not an endorsed document. So you see what they were doing. This was the day after Alban Bagbin took that decision. The next day they came, they called something a vote and proceedings. What they do is they sit and what they do is they correct every single thing in the previous proceedings, whether there was some votes cast or whatever they decided on. They come back before Parliament's new session starts. They correct everything. The moment they are doing that moment, the activities that happened the day before are just a draft. It has not been adopted. So what they will do is they will adapt before. When they finish doing all these corrections, they will now adopt it and endorse it. Then it will be part of a parliamentary records. So Afenyomakin went to court with documents that had not been corrected, documents that were just drafts. And then, catch Supreme Court to say, the guy you will even listen to him, ex-party application, the document he brought are not documents that were adopted and endorsed. So in the first place, it is scandalous for the Supreme Court to be ruling on a document that has not been adopted and endorsed. That is what the lawyer was saying. Meaning, in the first place, we were not even supposed to be here. If the Supreme Court had done its job, if the Supreme Court had done its due diligence, if the Supreme Court had taken its time not to make this whole thing an ex-party process, if the Supreme Court had taken its time to allow the other part or other party to also bring their grievance, the Supreme Court would have known that Afenyomakin's documentation that he presented was a draft document and that it wasn't a document that has been adopted and endorsed. In the first place, the beginning of this whole thing was scandalous. The Supreme Court, which has the oversight responsibility to make sure, say, every document that comes before Osonmame and her battalions, those documents have gone through the litmus test. Those documents are legit and factual. The documents before them, which they ruled on, the documents were half truths. But the court said they don't care. The Chief Justice, and in the Ghana for say, upon all the law they have learned, let us use common sense here. And common sense, Obia Onkanu Krebiano, there are 2 things they don't want to apply: common sense and paying attention to details. They deliberately ignore details because the moment they try to pay attention to details, they will say they are corrupt. And that is what is happening at the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court deliberately ignore details because when they decide to take care or monitor or pay attention to details, Afenyomakin will not have a case. In Afenyomakin and the Chief Justice, and the Supreme Court itself, it is not even ready to open it as itself up to make sure detailing or making sure the facts are true. They don't care because they are in a rush to rule for a corrupt minority leader, Afenyomakin. Because so we a judge now to wanna say an opposing lawyer raise the issue here. It goes against the integrity of the court. You are supposed to protect the integrity of Ghana Supreme Court. And what you do is that you call for a detailed document. I didn't know lawyer and say, why don't you provide us with a real document from Parliament? Then we'll give you They adopted and endorsed document. Now in that document you will see say Alban Bagbin ruled on what we call 4 MPs and not 3 MPs. Now that's fine. Now Alban Bagbin's lawyer still sorry, and so he raised another issue. He raised an issue. One of the judges are not Okapano no or a former NPP parliamentary candidate. Jesus Christ. Judge ana otesono ono ebebu asem no or a former parliamentary candidate wejinama NPP wa serial caller da waje card da ena Alban Bagbin lawyer na erezi issue ni say, Madam Judge, your colleague sitting there, even though he is a judge of the Supreme Court, he needs to recuse himself because Alban Bagbin application say the judge na otowono gawuno se dey na friend sano. He is a member of the NPP. The Speaker of Parliament's lawyer, because in the application Speaker of Parliament, you can say the response now Speaker of Parliament at the core Supreme Court no or say judge near friend NS Gawuno or your MPP ni yenyina yenim. Enana Alban Bagbin lawyer and Eka Chief Justice say, even though he is a judge now at the Supreme Court, Alban Bagbin and his lawyers believe say his earlier affiliation with the MPP no can influence his decision on this matter, because the matter we are treating in the Supreme Court today, it is between the NPP and the NDC. A purely political matter. Inti Speaker Alban Bagbin lawyer Chief Justice say, wouldn't it be right? You have so many judges, over 34 in Supreme Court judges. Can't he recuse himself to protect the integrity of your court? If even he is going to be fair, to just take the doubt out of the minds of Nana Akufo-Addo's word, naysayers, no, or people who are still contemplating whether the court is legitimate or illegitimate, or the court is biased or not biased. No? Why don't you take this man, who is now a Supreme Court judge, off this matter? If it had been any matter which did not involve the NPP and the NDC, then nobody will have an issue. But wouldn't it be good, Sir Chief Justice, ubeyi man way every case in so send the doubts in the minds of people. Already people are saying your court is political. Already people are saying you have politicized the court. Already people are saying you people are working for the NPP. Wouldn't it be great for you to clear that thing from the minds of people? Chief Justice on now, you see, when you read Enes Gawu's profile, and this man is part of the panel, Omu decide Omu rule say the Supreme Court has jurisdiction. Omu the power to step into the rulings of a parliament. Now, when you read Justice Enes Gawu's profile very well, this is what you see. Whilst in private practice, he was active in partisan politics from 2009 to 2016, serving as a constituency chairman and parliamentary candidate for the New Patriotic Party in the whole West and whole Central constituencies. He resigned on 16 September 2020, which was the same day he was appointed as a High Court judge. This judge, Enes Gawu, was the constituency chairman, a parliamentary candidate. In fact, the day he resigned that he is no more a parliamentary candidate for the MPP, no, that was the same day Akufo-Addo in 2020 moved him to the higher court. So, no matter how you see this judge at this point is not supposed to be part of this case, especially when you have so many judges on standby that you can place or to replace this man on this panel. The Chief Justice said no. Now, you don't know something, the President now Chief Justice way SETI with all the skirmishes. You see, moi law no. Me, I've not been to law school. You see this statement when they say recusing yourself from a case when you are a judge. So, Opesa summarizing in short, no. In short, a judge may be recused if only he had some actual interest, personal, familial, or financial in the outcome of a case, or where he has shown himself to be so prejudiced against one of the parties or the case's subject matter that he cannot be trusted to rule fairly. Now, the Chief Justice argument today when she was making her ruling, and say the same Parliament actually vetted this man and made him what? And made him a Supreme Court judge. So, as far as Parliament vetted him and said he can go ahead and become a Supreme Court judge, nobody can tell her that she should take the man off the case. That is why, at the end of the day, the case be etimi ba Supreme Court. Na se eye Chief Justice maame and a case in fa no ho. Na Chief Justice ewo Supreme Court. The best thing for Chief Justice to do, and they said, to recuse herself. Not because asem no ontumi ndio. It is because she's related to ne maame. It is because no matter how, se ne maame kura anhwe ne mfiri nkwara brem ana maame ne adapte no na maame na anhwe no school a, the fact is say oya ne maame no, it will influence her decision on the panel. It is either going to make her angrier and not to look at the issues well, or it is going to make her have sympathy for the woman for not being with her for a long time. So it is always important that when issues like this comes and you have any affiliation, because this man used to be a member of the NPP and not just a mere member, he used to be a parliamentary candidate. No matter how you see this, he has a little bit of soft spot for the NPP. And this is a very, very important case, sir. You, the same Chief Justice, you call the case exceptional circumstances. So if the case is an exceptional circumstances, then you don't leave any room for doubt. That is why you are supposed to take the man off the case, to take out that misconception and that idea say Chief Justice is trying to rake. Because the moment you keep the man on, even though Parliament sanctioned him to come to the Supreme Court, he is not supposed to be seen as being biased. So to prevent that in the eyes of the public or the citizenry or people in court, he needs to stay away so that the court or the people in court will have a clear understanding or conscience in following the case. Because no matter what you do, say Judge Way, the chairman or whole central through Ayana during his time, or Manibeye parliamentary candidate Ebejina anymore, not panel be or no kanwa. The law now Mosiane say he needs to recuse himself because say in the corner no relationship, he's had relationship with that man before. That man has helped him become a parliamentary candidate before. He used to know this man. He used to work with this man. So logically, reasoning wise, it is best for this judge to step away. And it's now to court. Now your judge. Now oba asamoba. Yama uba ndi asamono. Yama undi uba nasem. And it's now sebia unya ba kura kunu asamoba. Nesi yunse unya ba kunu ena asamaba. The Chief Justice is supposed to make sure you don't sit on the case. So why would the Chief Justice say, upon all these things that is going to create some misconception in the eyes, on the heads of people, she still insists to say, this man is supposed to sit on the case. And then the chair will say, the intent has never been clear for the Chief Justice and the panel. It has always been a biased panel that is there to work for the executive. And I want you to understand the AC was Supreme Court. And when people say the Chief Justice has sold the court's soul and that the Chief Justice or Mahama is doing the bidding of the executive, you are not supposed to compete. Forget about their jargons. We are applying common sense here. We are applying reasoning here. We are trying to let people understand and say, oh, yeah, jaja, oh, nyanyame. You need to use your conscience. Sa adwene da da utimu no a wo mpese wo bepa obi hu na kasa we jantre no sa adwene na wo se boawo na a guide in using the law to protect yourself and protect the people before you. That is your core mandate. Now, Mr. S, Mr. P, stay with me, guys. I still have breaking news for you. I'm not done. Now, in court, another issue starts here. Chief Justice or you see where it be in there. The Chief Justice making a ruling, no, or in her submissions or ruling, no, or say if Afenyomakin had gone to the High Court, the High Court would have still come to them for interpretation. Alban Bagbin lawyers raise the issue, no. Omo can be say, in fact, so we read the constitution, now we follow constitution, now person who didn't cry. Nanka or say Afenyomakin echo a High Court. But Afenyomakin ended up at the Supreme Court. And the application from the speaker, lawyers, say it is not right for Afenyomakin to even, at the end of the day, come straight to the Supreme Court. Even though the Supreme Court oversees or is powerful than the High Court, we should all follow due process. As far as the Constitution is saying, there is the room, we still have an option to use, Afenyomakin was supposed to use that option. Because in Ghana, Supreme Court is such a High Court. But the Constitution so says Supreme Court such a High Court. But the Constitution also insisted it was say issues like this, majority of them has to come to the High Court. The Constitution recognizes the Supreme Court as being the the highest court of the land. But the Constitution also did not discredit the High Court. It gave the High Court specific role to play in issues like this, because Constitution will say due process is very important when it comes to law. In Toka say, even though the Supreme Court is there, you have to go to the High Court first. So why did Afenyomakin come to the Supreme Court? Chief Justice started using hypothetical statement in her ruling. Now, when a Chief Justice sits in the Supreme Court and starts using hypotheticals, because the probability say Afenyomakin echo High Court or Beba Supreme Court, you cannot say it is definite. No. The probability say case, it could have ended up in the High Court, it is also high. So how can a Chief Justice sit in the Supreme Court and say if even Afenyomakin had gone to the High Court, it could have still ended up on her table? It means the Chief Justice sits in the Supreme Court using hypothetical statements to judge a case that are supposed to go through due process and definite actions.
The vacation of seats is not a matter of fact from death or resignation or notice by the parties themselves to Parliament. It is to be taken from an interpretation and enforcement of Article 97(1)(g).
So you see what she tried doing here? She tried to override the power of the High Court because she wanted to take over the case. She knows that if Afenyomakin had entered the High Court, the outcome that Afenyomakin is getting at the Supreme Court, he wasn't going to get. Because when you look at the jurisdictions of these courts, the High Court has original jurisdiction and the Supreme Court has referral jurisdiction. Meaning, there's a reason why the High Court has original jurisdiction and the Supreme Court has a referral. That is why it was very imperative for the Supreme Court to send Afenyomakin back to the High Court for him to exhaust the process there, and that when the process is being exhausted, it can come to the referral, which is the Supreme Court. But in this case, the Chief Justice sits in her chair and tells Ghanaians that forget the High Court. There is no importance to the High Court. It does not have any role. In fact, we as the Supreme Court, we can override whatever the High Court does. Then from the Chief Justice hypothetical statement, whatever goes to the High Court, the Chief Justice from the Supreme Court can just enter the High Court and say, bring it to the Supreme Court. Then it means the Constitution that created the High Court, at the end of the day, the same Chief Justice is undermining the powers of the High Court. So if you're a High Court judge today, your Chief Justice sits in the Supreme Court and says that no matter what, a case can come there, and if she wants that case to come to the Supreme Court, she can quash the powers of the High Court and bring it to the Supreme Court. But there's a reason why the Constitution actually decided to bring a High Court, brings an appeal court before a Supreme Court. Because when due process is followed, then you get to know the real facts of a case. There's a reason why when the issue of parliamentarians and all that came up, it did not directly, or the Constitution did not directly say go to the Supreme Court. It said go to the High Court, because the case needs to be started originally so that we will know. Because you see, the draft that Afenyomakin took to the Supreme Court, if Afenyomakin had sent the draft to the High Court would have referred Afenyomakin, or would have sent Afenyomakin back to Parliament to present the endorsed proceedings. But because the Chief Justice was in a rush, the Chief Justice wanted to go against the process. The Chief Justice does not respect due process. She basically wrote Afenyomakin's application for him, gave it to him and said, bring it to me, and that I will make sure you get a ruling. That is why we are here today. So the Chief Justice is writing his own application and answering his own application and giving ruling on his own application. As we sit here, the Chief Justice of Ghana today is undermining courts in Ghana from her own hypothetical statement. How can you sit in the Supreme Court and make hypothetical statement that if the case had gone to the High Court, it would have come to you? You don't know. You never know. Because maybe if the case had gone to the High Court, it wouldn't have been an ex parte case. So how do you know that when the case goes to the High Court, it has to come to you? The Chief Justice of Ghana, Madam Tokonu Osnomame, today sits in Supreme Court and undermine the High Court and tells us that even though the Constitution gives the High Court the mandate to oversee these issues, she does not respect the High Court, all because she's there to work for Afenyomakin and Akufo-Addo. That is the problem of the day. That is our problem as a nation. And you see, this is what they are doing, and this is part of the reason why today, today in Ghana, we are all saying our democracy has been hijacked. Now listen.
Take away the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court to interpret and enforce any provision of the Constitution, including Article 99 itself.
So when you listen to the Chief Justice, right? And then Uncle because the Chief Justice, the ruling was already prepared. Yes, it was already prepared. It was a ruling that she had already written. This was not a ruling where Omoko shared them 30 minutes or no. You know why? So a person who's a ruling was already prepared. It was when the lawyer for Speaker raised the issue of the drafts. Because if the Supreme Court or the Chief Justice had not already prepared her speech, she should have known that the issue that happened in Parliament for Afenyomakin to run to Supreme Court and the draft document he brought, she should have known that it involved 4 MPs. But because the day now Afenyomakin ever court now on one case application man be presented to him, no, the Chief Justice had already written down her ruling. It is a the ruling now, which my team they are trying to get you. Her ruling was only based on the draft document. But you see, when Alban Bagbin was replying to the Supreme Court, Alban Bagbin made the Chief Justice understand, say it is scandalous because Afenyomakin cry document it's a draft document that does not cover the original or endorsed the parliamentary documents. Enti who is a Chief Justice ne read is no reading in from the occurring. When you take your time, you will see say it has been predetermined. It was already written. Her judgment was already written. She already had a judgment before coming to court today. Nothing could have changed the mind of the Chief Justice, because on no natural application ma Afenyomakin court the first time, no Chief Justice and a trauma and say onko na onya den onfa sade we mre no na on grant expert in man. Into Chief Justice or not the case or not the case, so no judging the case. Now here there, you remember the case of Sal, right? 30,000 Ghanaians were denied, or they were disenfranchised. They were not allowed to vote in election 2020. Now the Chief Justice today, there was one thing that she was doing that majority of Ghanaians did not pay attention to. She hid behind the word called exceptional circumstances. Exceptional circumstances. Or say case because of exceptional case had an exceptional circumstance. A case be na exceptional. All because one, some of the people are the respective MPs constituencies say Alban Bagbin ruling it take effect. All those people will not have an MP. won't any reasons original so can say or grant Alban afenyo marking the expert in the man or say exceptional circumstances. You see, this is a dissension into politics. The Chief Justice was doing pure politics. Whether the constituents will get a chance to vote or not, it is not up to the Chief Justice to determine. It is up to a Parliament. Nobody forced the respective MPs to go independent. So disenfranchising or not allowing their constituents to basically enjoy their service for the rest of the parliamentary sitting, no, it is not up to Speaker to decide, the Chief Justice to decide. Now the Chief Justice was veering into a very tricky arena because one, say obi ankasa sorry no kasa me MPP ni me pese me koye independent. It is not up to you, the Chief Justice, to say nipa na oye penyina willingly we decide say obeko independent no ne constituents na omo at the end of the day they will lose that seat no, and I say omo nya MP no enya wo na obe decide parliament they decide. Chief Justice raise the issue be say, oh, san conform no ko independent no, what is going to happen is say what if omo da the committee bia no, it is up to parliament to make that decision. Somebody the committee no, and I say omo first deputy speaker of parliament, it is the parliamentary and I say a parliament juma to at the end of the day find solutions to that. It is not your job as the Chief Justice. It is not your job to tell Parliament how an MP's constituents will vote or not to vote. It is up to Parliament to make that decision. As a Chief Justice, say obika say our position or the committee so no so obeko parliamentary or obeko independent. Now say at the end of the day or independent, it is not up to you, the Chief Justice, to sit in the Supreme Court and determine say, oh, I didn't move because of the committee. So at the end of the day, Parliament knows how its own laws work and they know how they can fix their problem. So you could see, say, the Chief Justice, she was descending into politics. She was doing pure politics and not trying to look for the facts.
Above reasons, the application is refused.
So you see, what she was doing was pure politics. As we speak today, so I would say the decision you are taking is based on, say, some of the MPs now become independent and say at this point, Alban Bag bin Jina in Brabiso, no, you are Mutuakunya, say, Omoko independent, their seats are vacant. Send the MPB who and that. Chief Justice, are you going to decide for Supreme Court what to do, Parliament what to do? When Parliament take a decision in Parliament, they know how to correct their own decisions. Send the MPB who are, is the Supreme Court going to tell Parliament to immediately replace that MP who died? No. You are just delving into tricky politics. This is basic and this is clear that you are being biased. You are doing pure politics. In 2021, Madam Tokonu was on the Supreme Court panel that threw away the SAL. Was the SAL issue not also an exceptional circumstance? SAL, over 30,000 people were disenfranchised. The Electoral Commission deliberately decided to take them out of the elections. Madam Tokonu, you were on that panel. You did what? At the end of the day, what you did was that you did not, Mr. At the end of the day, that panel that threw away the case, were you not part of the panel? So you want to tell us that today, the MPs who are voluntarily, they have decided to go independent and forfeiting their own seat in Parliament and also forfeiting their membership in their own respective parties, in their party, Today you are telling us, say, because you are MPP and they are forfeiting their seats, the Speaker of Parliament does not have the right to declare their seat vacant, but you have the right to tell us, say, the people of SAL, under special circumstances, they don't deserve to be heard and to vote. Because you were sitting on the panel in 2021. And what did you say? You said the people of SAL, any special circumstance, it was thrown out of the window. But today, you are so angry, you are sweating, and you are trying to make it look like these 3 MPs or 4 MPs who voluntarily decided to go independent, knowing the rules on the ground, knowing their own respective parties, Omankasa political party, the rules on the ground that when the moment you declare that you are not going to go on their ticket, you forfeit your membership. You today, you are defending those people. What about the people of SAL? The people of SAL, you sat on that committee, that panel, and threw the case out. Wasn't it a special circumstances? Wasn't it Ghanaians who were being disenfranchised? Wasn't it the same Ghanaians who paid taxes for you to be able to feed your family every month? You see, the biasness in this Chief Justice, right? The deliberate biasness and the corruption that has engulfed this our court at time. And I say this because, you see, we have a Supreme Court made up of party foot soldiers who are selective about in seminal which one they want to pick and which one they don't want to pick. Now, look at this. Let me read this to you. So, you see, in her ruling, she hid behind the word special circumstances. This particular word, exceptional circumstances. She hid behind exceptional circumstances. The question is, Sal, 30,000 people, wasn't it an exceptional circumstance? They were being denied. So if today some people you are saying are being denied, were Sal people not being denied? But you sat on the panel and threw away because they were NDC supporters. Now, let me read this to you, and this has got to do with a Sal case. Madam Tokonu was sitting on that panel. This woman, a double-faced woman. You can't trust her. This is it. Supreme Court dismisses Sal case, 2021, 30th March. Madam Tokonu was sitting on that panel. Now, Sal Fono, wasn't it an exceptional circumstance? Anna Emrano, we choose which part to use and which way to use it and which people to please with the law. That in 2021, you sat on the Supreme Court, a panel, and threw away Sal's application. Was it not an exceptional circumstance? 30,000 people, you denied them from voting. You did not let them choose who to lead them. They don't have an MP. Today you sit in the Supreme Court and you're making it to look like say Yenny Ghana for any abodam. When you read the story, this is what the story says. The 7-member panel that reviewed the decision of the original 5-member panel stated that no error of law were committed by the judges to merit setting aside the decision. The original 5-member panel was presided over by Justice Yao Apeu, with Justice Samuel K. Mafo, Sao, Gertrude Tokonu, Clemens Hunyuga, and Isifu Umoru Tanko. Justice Hunyuga was later replaced by Justice Lovelace Averill Johnson, with Justice Yoni Kulendi and Professor Henrietta Mensah Bonsu added to constitute the 7-member panel. You were part of the panel that threw out the Sal case. Today you are here sweating under your breasts, making it look like you love every Ghanaian and that you are the mother for all. The same woman who, in quotes, murdered 30 people from not choosing their own leader. Today you are here screaming and getting every part of your body wet because your darling boy Afinyo Makin and your president that you are licking his butt, their party members have been touched in parliament. God in his own wisdom will judge every one of us. Let me give you the breaking news after this short break. Breaking news. I have 7 questions to ask. And let me put this on record. In fact, my man call me breaking in Bra. The breaking news, I'll ask 7 questions. Remember, Sir Judge, 5 days. In fact, I'll give that judge till the 11th of November. The same 11th of November, Alban Bagbin, Speaker of Parliament, Asemono. That is the same day I'm also going to come out with my answers from this question. Mema Judge Krona or Supreme Court or your bar, no, maybe busan 7 questions. Now these 7 questions, so Judge and Bontine Ambe answer questions we are on the 11th of November. Now you say Mobile Betsna Alban Bagbin, Speaker of Parliament issue no so ama Afinyo Makin ama MPP we know. The same day is the day that I will also be answering the questions. Say, who Sir Obana was Supreme Court no? So I answer questions where the only person who can stop this is my mother or my father. Mr. Papa Anyashia Bonia, your friend Bonnie Anyashi. After this short 8 questions for a year, one of the women judges at the Supreme Court. Now, let me put this on the screen first. These are all the women are almost Supreme Court, so I'm going to keep this on the screen. Senebeya, when I put the questions out, all the women at the Supreme Court, no, obia dinwum into obia NTA. Why are they we concerned? No? Be honest with yourself. Come out and let the people know. Resign before it gets murkier. I'm not threatening anybody. I'm just saying, it will be better for all of us to protect our integrity. Okay. Emma Omo Ghana Supreme Court now. Omo ye 5. Justice Gertrude Araba Isaba Saki Tokonu. She is the Chief Justice. Justice Mariama Owusu. She's a judge. Senior judge at the Supreme Court. Justice Avril Lovelace Johnson. She's also a judge at the Supreme Court. Justice Professor Henrietta Joy Abenanyakum Mensa Bunsu. She's also at the Supreme Court. And Justice Barbara F. Aka Yensu. She is also at the Supreme Court. Team, stay with me. Now, Mr. P, stay with me. Mr. S, stay with me. My first question to these judges, there's one judge I'm sending these questions to, and we are going to cut this piece. The judge now, or what's that in my women, also about Bontebe answer. There are videos, there are car numbers, there are pictures, there are text messages. Nobody is God in Ghana. Say, Papa, a friend, Papa, Anyashia, Bonnie, a friend, Bonnie, Anyashi. Now, which Supreme Court judge or your bar, which one of you goes to sleep at McCarthy Hill? Which one of you Supreme Court judges you say you are married goes to sleep at McCarthy Hill? Second question. Which of you Supreme Court judges or your bar, the place you go to sleep, the gentleman now Okodanifino, that gentleman was going through a divorce, and you, the judge, are one of the female Supreme Court judges. You actually got that gentleman a lawyer. Question number 3. You, this Supreme Court judge, your bar, sir, Nipa 5, you are about 15 years older than this gentleman. You are about 15 years old. You are older. You are 15 years older than this gentleman. That's question number 3. Question 4, and this is a specific question. There is a place near the Swiss school, near Ekufuadu's place. You, this woman, have you been sharing bed in that neighborhood with a member of parliament? Listen, there is a specific place near the Swiss school. It's very near to Ekufuadu's place. You, the Supreme Court judge, you are a woman. You say you are married. You have been sharing bed with another politician. I'm giving you specifics so that you know that I know what I'm talking about. Who is this gentleman? Question number 5. Now, let me go more deeper. The gentleman you, this chief person you are seeing, the person you, this judge, you are seeing in Ghana is a businessman. He's rich. He's less educated. You, this woman judge, you go to this man's house. And the funny thing is, you leave the house 5 a.m. every morning. 5 a.m. The gentleman's name is Emmanuel. For some reason, I'm not going to add the second one. He is linked to some kind of milk in Ghana. The gentleman is called Emmanuel. He is linked to some kind of product in Ghana, milk product in Ghana. His name is Emmanuel. His date of birth is the 31st of March. I'm being specific so that you know what I'm talking about. There are pictures, there are videos, there are chats. Because most of you are saying you are Christians. You are married, you stay with your husbands, there's no problem. The gentleman is called Emmanuel. He's linked with a product called milk. This gentleman was born on the 31st of March. He was born on the 31st of March. Okay. You always leave this place at 5 a.m. You change cars. So we have about 3 car numbers and the 3 cars that you use in going and coming every time. Now this is specific. What was Afenyomakin doing at you, the judge's place near Wireless around Cantonment? What was Afenyomakin doing at your place? What was Afenyomakin doing at Wireless around Cantonment? What was Afenyomakin doing at your place? On the 11th of November, Papa Anyashia, Bonnie Enyashi.